It's the real news. I'm Ben Norton. According to politicians and pundits in the United States, Saudi Arabia's new dictator, Mohammed bin Salman, is a revolutionary who will supposedly bring progressive change to the world. In February, the top U.S. diplomat Dennis Ross published an op-ed in the Washington Post titled, quote, "America should get behind Saudi Arabia's revolutionary crown prince." Most major corporate media outlets have published article after article whitewashing Mohammed bin Salman and depicting the 32-year-old Saudi crown prince as a messiah. In reality, however, the Saudi regime's brutal oppression has continued under Prince Mohammed. A recent report by Human Rights Watch found that in the first 4 months of this year, Saudi Arabia beheaded 48 people, half of them for non-violent drug charges. Joining us to discuss the reality in Saudi Arabia is Asad AbuKhalil. Asad is a leading expert on Middle East politics and a professor of political science at California State University, Stanislaus. He regularly writes at his website, the Angry Arab News Service. Thanks for joining us, Asad.
Thank you, Ben.
So can you react to the recent report? We now know that on average, every month, a dozen people in Saudi Arabia are beheaded, half of them for non-violent drug offenses.
Well, it has to be said that since the Second World War, successive U.S. administrations have consistently cuddled and indulged the despotism and cruelty of the Saudi regime. This has been a consistent manner. However, there has been an adjustment in recent years because the Saudi government has become far more repressive than it has ever been. This is what people do not understand, that what this crown prince is doing is selling what he calls reform in terms of opening up the country for foreign investment and allowing clowns and singers to come to Saudi Arabia. And along the same line, he has been tightening the parameters of allowed speech and movement within the country. Like Twitter and social media have been restricted increasingly under this prince than they ever were before. The freedom of the press, which never existed in Saudi Arabia, is now more abysmal than it ever has been. And yet, as you suggested, there is a triumvirate that is now responsible for the promotion of the despotism of this crown prince. And we're talking about the US administration that is endorsing whatever this crown prince is doing. Second, you have large corporations who have at stake, oil corporations, arms defense industries, and so on, who are part of selling this new crown prince to the world. And the third element is the Zionist lobby. The Zionist lobby, in its branches, Democrat and Republican, have also been promoting this crown prince. I just looked up today. I mean, the palace of the crown prince is now a site of pilgrimage. You see delegations after delegations of liberals, conservative, media types, think tanks, government agencies, all flocking to Saudi Arabia at the feet of this crown prince. Today, I saw a delegation from the Center for American Progress, former Clintonites, who are now groveling at the crown prince's feet, basically.
Yeah, and what do you take of, we have seen reports of real progress in Saudi Arabia. Of course, women are finally being allowed to drive. The fact that they couldn't in the first place is outrageous, considering that in no other country in the world have women been banned from driving. So there are some forms of progress, but can you respond to those? How do you think those reflect on Mohammed bin Salman?
I mean, this is like somebody saying that I will from now on allow bread to be supplied to the slaves that I own. I mean, these are basic rights that women are entitled to around the world. And the definition of Islam in Saudi Arabia remains, even after the reform, the most strict, the most misogynistic of any kind of Islamic governments around the world. There is no need to celebration or to cheer. He basically is taking certain measures intended for Western audiences. They are not intended for the Saudi audiences. Saudi women require and need more freedom like everybody else. They are also entitled to have a stake in the political system, political participation, and they also need jobs. All these things are denied to them. But yet, he basically knows that if he makes cosmetic changes that are intended for Western audiences, and if you pay enough PR agencies and lobbying firms in Washington, D.C., everybody will be impressed, and they are.
Yeah, and then we'll have to finish up here, but of course, I didn't even mention the war in Yemen. This is the largest humanitarian catastrophe on the planet, and Mohammed bin Salman has been overseeing the brutal bombing by Saudi Arabia of Yemen, which is the poorest country in the Middle East. Can you briefly comment on that as well?
Well, I think the Yemeni bloodshed has to be blamed on GCC countries as well as on the Western alliance that is providing not only intelligence, but also military hardware to the Saudis and to UAEs, all those who are involved in this bloody war. So it is an international war. And when we speak about a coalition, there is a coalition. And this is important in order not to absolve the US, Britain, Germany, and other countries of responsibility of the ongoing crimes there in Yemen.
Yeah, of course. We just saw in April, Saudi Arabia bombed a wedding and killed 33 people and injured 50, mostly civilians, many of whom were children. And the Saudi military used a US-made bomb in order to bomb that Yemeni wedding. But unfortunately, we'll have to end our discussion here. We were with Asad AbuKhalil, who is a professor of political science at California State University, Stanislaus. Thanks for joining us, Asad.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Reporting for The Real News, I'm Ben Norton.